Welcome to the Nikki Rich Show. I'm your host, Miss Nikki Rich, and today, guys, we are broadcasting live out of California, sunny California, that is. And I want to let you guys know that if you're tuned in each and every Tuesday, you can subscribe to our YouTube, Nikki Rich, the number two. Follow us along on social media at Nikki Rich Show TV, as well as my personal page, Miss Nikki Rich. Well, guys, we have an exciting show for you. We have our featured guest in the house. She is also the CEO and co founder of Barbari, and I'm so excited to speak with her, Miss Meryl Montgomery. So, with no
Thank
further
you.
ado, we would like to welcome to the Nikki Rich Show for the first time, Miss Meryl Montgomery. Welcome. How are you
Thank
doing?
you. I'm doing great. I have no complaints on my end. How are you doing?
So excited. Today is so beautiful out here, and
Mm-hmm.
so excited to talk with you.
Yeah, I bet you're happy to not be in the snow like I am.
Yes, but I'm gonna be headed your way next week. So,
Well, I'm dialing in from Mexico City, so
oh, you are?
yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
where you are now.
that's where I am now. I know. I feel bad. All my friends in New York and Portland are preparing
Yeah.
for snow, and I'm like, I'm soothing a sunburn right now.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Now, tell us a little bit how you got into the cannabis industry.
Yeah. Um, well, it goes way back. I used to sell weed in college, and that was my first that was my first time really in the industry.
Okay.
But when I was selling in college, it wasn't about the money. It was all just about meeting. I wanted to meet new people, and I wanted to smoke for free. Those were my two main objectives. And so selling weed was a great conduit to both of those things, and that was kind of like a 1-2 punch. And so I love doing that, but I never really thought that I could do it as a career. So I built my career in marketing and digital advertising, and I worked in a lot of content strategy for quite a few e-commerce companies over the last 10 years. And I was having a bit of a emotional breakdown, I would say. I was probably 28, 29, and I was just in the bathroom stall at my office, just depressed and miserable and crying. And just, I was like, I have everything that I ever could have wanted. How could I possibly be this unhappy? And so I started really thinking about, okay, if what would I want to be doing if money wasn't in the equation at all?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that I thought of was selling weed in college, and just how much fun I have and how much I learned through that experience. And around that same time, I was connecting with an old college friend, Valerie, and she was telling me of this product concept, which was the herbal split. So it's herbal smoking blends that are mixed with cannabis and rolled into a pre-roll form, and this brand that she was forming, and that brand was Barbari. And it just sort of was the right time and right place. And I was like, that sounds so cool. Like, if you ever get that started, let me know. And like 3 weeks later, I called her back and I was like, I haven't been able to stop thinking about this. And if you're open to it, I want to help out however I can. And that was back in 2016. And here we are now, almost 5 years later. And yeah, we've got a THC product line now in Oregon and Massachusetts. We're looking to hit a bunch more states this year. And then we have our botanical and CBD line, which is sold nationally.
Well, isn't it amazing how you go from something that is not legal to now legal and making like, whew, tons of money? I mean, everybody, and now other states are getting with it too. So
Mm-hmm.
how does it feel to be like, okay, from that era to now, and now making money from it? I mean, that's pretty huge to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's a pretty actually controversial issue because a lot of people have been making money sort of in the underground market for a long time, and
Mhm.
once it became regulated, it became a lot harder um, for people of color to have the same sort of impact, or women or smaller, women-owned companies. Like if you're a small business, with this type of industry, it's a lot harder to compete against a lot of very capitalized cannabis companies out there. And so for us, we just kind of keep focused on what our goals are and not get distracted about what is happening sort of with all of these major big players that are rising and falling just as far as they rise, and leading our company to be the most ethical company we can. We've just actually implemented ESG metrics, which are environmental, sustainable, and social governance metrics, into our business goals. So as much as we go after profitability and after, hitting certain margins, we're also making sure that a certain percentage of our packaging is sustainable, that we're hiring a really diverse and incredible team, and that we're the company that we want others to emulate and that we want to be successful in this type of industry. I think because it is so early on in sort of the regulated industry sense, like now is really the time to be thinking about, okay, what kind of industry do we want to see 100 years from now? And how can we be working towards that goal now? And I think keeping that long-term vision in sight is what keeps us excited and sort of us energized about this whole thing, because a lot of times what we're seeing now is with these money grabs, people are worried so much about that short-term game. They're losing sight of really the magic of the plant that has been cultivated for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
And what I wanted to ask, because you kind of touched on it a little bit, of what makes Barbari stand out from those other companies, those other cannabis companies?
Yeah, I mean, we are really focused on making cannabis accessible for everyone. So that for new consumers or very frequent consumers like myself, there's options to be able to, experiment and to play with cannabis and to kind of find that high and that level that works for you.
Yes.
Both Valerie and myself, as well as our team, are pretty regular cannabis consumers, and we really use cannabis like we use coffee or tea or exercise. It's these things that give us energy and inspiration and sources of creativity, and really pulling cannabis out of just this like, oh, I'm going to get fucked up sort of mindset. And we do like doing that too, don't get me wrong, but it's all about finding that level that's good for you. And so our herbal blends are a way that you can mix with your own dose of weed. So you take our herbal blends, we have 3 different varieties, all very effect-based, and then you mix them with your own dose of cannabis, and you can smoke it or put it in a vape or however you like it. And that way you can really control how high you get, but you also make your weed last longer. Like even here in Mexico, where, I have less weed access to weed than I did in Portland. I have a few nugs and I'm mixing it with these blends to make my weed last longer. And I'm like, this is a way that even if you're more on a budget, you can really sort of have access to this plant. That's really the most important thing for us. And then again, we're literally a values-driven company, and we have been since day one. And so I think that there are quite a few companies that are really trying to be very intentional with the type of way that they're running their companies, and we're certainly at least trying to be in that space.
Now, what are some of the blends that you have, Barbari has?
Yeah, so we've got 3. Airplane Mode is our most popular one, and that one is mixed with rose and lavender and blue lotus, raspberry leaf and sage. And that one is very much aimed for winding down, relaxing, chill. I mean, the beautiful thing about botanicals is, just like cannabis, each herb has its own properties. So blue lotus, for example, is a natural sedative and very good at, winding down and chilling out for the night. Mm-hmm. We have our Muse blend, which is peppermint, sage, and jasmine flower. All of them have raspberry leaf, so I won't say that 3 times. But and that one's really great for like daytime use. It's good for social events or smoking, but it's really great for just clearing the mind and focusing. So it's a good work. We call it kind of like our work time blend. And then our third one is called Car Sex. That one is more of our playful one, good for party. Car Sex, yeah. We want our naming exercises where we want those names to take you to a certain memory, a time, a feeling. And so car sex is very much our fun, our playful one. It's made with wild daga, also known as lion's tail. And that has very euphoric properties, really similar to cannabis, actually. It can give you kind of a giggly effect.
I love it. Wow.
I know. I mean, before really hanging out with Valerie, I was like, girl, what are you smoking? and then she really opened it up to me, and I was like, wow, this is actually a way to get pretty sophisticated about how you smoke. You know, it's not just about the weed, but there's other ways of sort of shaping that experience and really getting the most out of it. It's like when you're cooking, right? Like you add a zest of lemon or lime to bring out certain notes, or you add spices to kind of balance out flavors. It's the same kind of concept, but with weed, and I love just being able to apply that concept anywhere I can.
Yes. Now, have you guys teamed up with any other companies or any other any other businesses, or collaborated with anybody else?
Totally. We love collaboration. It's a huge part of our company. And I mean, even then, that's like, it's kind of counter to this like primarily capitalist model where we have to be the only ones at the table. Yeah. And that's such a limiting scope. You know, it's so limiting. And so for our THC line, for example, we partner with production companies within the states that we sell our THC product line in to be making the product, and we work with them to bring that product to the market. We also love working with other women and minority-owned companies in the cannabis space, whether it's through giveaways or product collaborations. We're working on a few this year that I can't quite talk about yet, but we're pretty excited about this year. We've got a lot of shit going on. We've got a lot of fun stuff up our sleeves, but unfortunately now I can't really talk about it yet. Maybe next time. I'll come on the show next time and we can talk all about the new stuff.
Now, we here in LA, boy, it's big here too. I know before the pandemic, was there a lot of events that you were a part of? Because I had a show, and then down from my show, there was a party it wasn't a party. I guess it was like a cannabis community party or something, but I went there and I was like, wow, they had the food. They had the steak, the cannabis, everything was cannabis though. It was like eatable. And do you guys have things like that?
Pre-COVID times, totally. Yeah, I mean, I remember. I remember. So I have been living in New York for like 10 years, and even now we still have our apartment there. My partner lives out there, and when I had moved from New York to Portland to really get Barbari launched, it was like I moved in March, like the first week of March. And then like the first 10 days, it was just event after event after event after event. Yeah. And I was joking with a friend because they were saying that how like bullshit networking events are and all that stuff. And I'm like, not in the cannabis world. Like
they were
networking.
Oh my gosh.
No, go on.
You're so right. It's not in cannabis. Everybody is in cannabis right now. From the NFL players to, just whoever it interests. I mean, it's so many people. So I don't know what they're talking about.
I know. And I mean, our first wholesale account was closed in a smoking circle at a networking event. Like, this is where I always joke that, like, these events, these cannabis events are like the old white man's golf course. Like, this is where business is actually getting done. It's at these events. Since COVID, it's been really interesting. And truthfully, it has been a nice break over the last year, not having to go to all of these events. It is quite, it's expensive, but it's also just takes a lot of energy from me, right? And so it's been a nice sort of year of restoring and resting and getting that back up. And I am looking forward to getting back to the event circuit, I think probably within the next year. But those events are fun. It's fun. It's where you get to meet people, and it's where you get your name and your brand out there. And if you're not really there, then no one knows you.
That is the truth. And, now we're here during the pandemic. you all are making it happen. I mean, that is pretty amazing during this time. Like, I love what you said because I'm in media and I feel the exact same way. We're like event after event after event, and now like we're able to, you know, come back, come back to the program. You know,
Mm-hmm.
where all the structure starts, and
Yes.
we're able to revamp and add on and be more creative, and how we're putting these products out.
Totally. I mean, I definitely think that when constraints and parameters are put on us is when creativity really thrives and blooms. And like if you just have a open blank canvas of any type of thing, whether it's a space or an industry, it can get overwhelming if you have all of these potential and options. But it's really when you put sort of these restrictions on yourself that when that's when the challenge comes in, and challenge is what breeds creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to really focus on the business over this last year, and we've seen a huge growth, I think, because we've been able to really focus in on what's important to us, values, products, and where we see our business within the industry.
And what I love is that you and Valerie, y'all had that vision, y'all came together, and look at you now. You executed it and making it
Yeah.
happen.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, Valerie and I go way back. We were our sophomore year of college at Oregon State, like way back. So I think I was like 12 years ago. Our houses were right next to each other. We lived in this like cul-de-sac, and in the cul-de-sac there were 4 houses, and then each house had 4 women in it. And like all of the women knew at least one other person in the other house. So we just sort of morphed into this like group. We called it the anti-sorority sorority. and every, Valerie had the dance house. I had the like stoner food house. We had another one with like the beer pong table set up. And it was just a really collective, relaxed, supportive atmosphere to be in college in. And we did a lot of our early experimenting together. We did mushrooms together for the first time on my 21st birthday, or 20th birthday. We drove cross country together. We have this deep friendship really at the base of who we are. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's that friendship that we're able to fall back on. And I think that really has what's made the business so strong. And we've even made sure, as the business has grown and as our responsibilities have grown, to still be checking in with each other as friends, to have that time to really nurture our friendship, because it is so valuable to both of us.
Now, I'm going to tell you what I do love about both of y'all, because I love y'all photo shoots. Y'all have some bomb photo shoots. I'm telling you.
Thank you. Well, we have an amazing photographer.
It's so amazing. I love it. I was like, okay, y'all got to step into some fashion,
Well, what's funny is Valerie and I are very awkward. Like we get camera shy. As soon as that camera comes out, we're both like awkward turtles. Like it's bad. But we have an amazing photographer, General Q. She is just a force, and she's just able to like make us relaxed and really sort of stage us and put us in the right places. And yeah, I'm so grateful for. I'm glad you like them, because they're fun. Once we kind of got over the like initial like, oh God, it was able to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I love it. I was like, this is a great way to model the products and everything. I mean, y'all are killing it. I was like, I love this.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, once we start smoking too, it gets a lot more. We would put on some music, we get a little stoned, and then we just let General Q take it away.
Amazing. Now, I know you can't tell a lot, but what else can we expect that you can talk about, from Barbari?
Yeah. So, like I said, our whole process is really anchored around making cannabis accessible. And so we have a lot of what is traditionally low dose, but we call it mindful dosing, which is, using cannabis to find what levels work for you. So we've been primarily in the smokables world. And so this year, we're stepping out of the smokables world. So that's all I can really say for now. We've sort of taken
Okay.
a little baby step with our Omura partnership, which is
Mhm.
similar to a vape. Essentially, it's these flower sticks that feels like a cigarette, which is what we really like. It has this sort of oral sensation of,
Mhm.
paper and flour, but the heating mechanism, it heats it up rather than actually burning it. So you're not actually combusting the product. And so that's sort of our first step out of just the combusting and smokables world, but we are fully stepping out of the smokables world this year and sort of making our debut into some other areas, which is pretty exciting.
Yay. I love it. Now, where
And
can
more
they
states
go?
too.
Where can they go
Yeah.
to find out more?
Yep. So you can go to a website actually called barbari.world. So BARBARI.WORLD. And that's just sort of our new main landing page. It has links to our CBD and botanical site, but it also has links to our THC website, which is where you can find where we stock in both Oregon and Massachusetts for our
Okay.
THC product line.
Now, the last question I want to ask, do you guys, because I know around here they have delivery service and things like that. Do you guys have delivery service?
For our CBD and botanicals, yeah, we ship
Okay.
nationwide for sure. And
Okay.
then for the THC line, it really is kind of dependent on the dispensary and
Mhm.
sort of what their processes are. So, yeah, I'm sure that they do have delivery. No, not us specifically, but the dispensary certainly do.
Yes.
What's been really great actually, in terms of the COVID industry's impact on cannabis is this idea of being able to get over this like bullshit and now offering curbside pickup. Like
Yes.
curbside pickup has been my new favorite thing with weed. It's like weed drive through. I just order it on my app and then drive up and they throw it in the window and I give them money and leave.
I know you ain't got to worry about it. You just curbside. I love it. Yes,
I know. Yeah, delivery is great, but it's just so expensive, and
it is.
there's so many dispensaries in Portland. I'm like, I don't know why I'd pay an extra $15 just to get the same weed that's a block away.
Yes. Yes, it's crazy. But I'm just so excited to have you on. And we're gonna be talking with Valerie this Thursday too. So I'm
I
excited
know.
about that. You
She's
know,
you're gonna have a lot of fun. She's great.
yeah, she is awesome. Yay. I've been, checking you all out and that's like, man, you ladies rock. And then y'all are, women that's doing it. You see a lot of men in business, but look at us women taking it over.
Well, and thank you for sort of highlighting us. I think
Hmm.
it's this mindset that we've come across a lot. I think with not all, I think not a lot of women-owned businesses, but there is this
Hmm.
sort of mentality of like, oh, as a woman, I shouldn't be talking about myself or being able to be visible. But it's so important to be able to be seen because if you
It
can't be
is.
seen, then how are others supposed to follow? And it's something that's really important to me. I've got 13 nieces and nephews, and
Oh
it's
my gosh.
and it is with more coming especially with COVID. There's so many COVID babies that are on their way in my life right now. So many, but it's
Look,
important,
hey,
right, to
you
be
are
out
building
there.
a legacy for your nieces and nephews. That's what
Yeah,
you're doing. You're gonna pass it down to
yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea.
them. I love it. Well, I'm just so honored to have you on today. I want to thank
Likewise,
you
likewise.
for being our guest. You're welcome back anytime, and we welcome you back to definitely, give us a follow up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you again so much for having me on, and have fun with Valerie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And to everybody that's tuned in, make sure you subscribe to Nikki Rich, the number two, and check us out, the NikkiRichShow.com. Thank you again. Thank you so much.